So we're going to work on the work together on page 17. We're going to look at transactions and how they change the accounting equation, similar to what we did the other day where we did the pluses and the minuses, okay? And for every transaction, there's always two accounts that are affected, so we're going to try to think about it. When we read the transaction, we're going to try to think about which of the accounts that are here are affected by this particular transaction, okay? So, received cash from sales. What do you think the two accounts that are affected are? Cash. Pardon me? Owner's equity, right. Because we said that sales affect the owner's equity account. Sales affect the owner's equity account. Withdrawals affect the owner's equity account. Expenses affect the owner's equity account. Okay, all of those things affect the owner's equity account. Sales is the same thing as revenues, so keep that in mind as well. We use those synonymously. Okay, so received cash from sales. So we know that cash is affected and owner's equity is affected. When we hear the word received cash, what do we know? Cash is going up, right? So we're going to have a plus on this side of the accounting equation. So what do we know if owner's equity is over here? It's going to increase also. Okay, just based on those rules that we talked about before. Okay, moving on. Second one, sold services on account to Bowman Company. What are the two accounts that are affected? Off. That's what it's doing. Darn it, it's timing out on me. Sorry. Okay. All right. Oh, and the other thing is when we put these pluses, we're going to put what account it's affecting. So these are both revenues or sales. Okay. Transaction number 3 is paid cash for telephone bill. Paid cash for telephone bill. What are our two accounts that are affected? Cash, we unequivocally know. Okay, and the other one's a little bit, this one's new. Expense. It's an expense, right? So we're going to have, what's going to happen if we have paid cash? Is it going up or down? Down. So we know that unequivocally. And the expense, is that going to increase or decrease our owner's equity? It's going to decrease our owner's equity. So we'll put in parentheses expense, because it's going to decrease our owner's equity. Okay. Number 4, received cash on account from Bowman Company. Received cash on account from Bowman Company. What are my two accounts that are affected? Cash and accounts receivable. What's happening to my cash account? Received means it's going to be increasing. And where is that account receivable? Same side of the accounting equation. So what do we unequivocally know? It's got to decrease. Right, okay? And that makes perfect sense because if you think about it. Okay, so up here, when we sold that item to Bowman, we recorded it at that point in time and recognized the revenue, okay? And this is one of those principles that I went over in the notes, okay? It's an accounting principle. We can recognize revenue at a different time than when cash is received, okay? So that's that revenue recognition. We record and recognize the sale at the time it actually takes place, not when this cash is received. Otherwise, we'd only have a cash, we'd have lower sales most of the time. It would be worse for look worse for our business because we'd only record them when we actually receive the cash. Are a lot of things sold on credit? Yeah. How many of you guys see your parents use credit cards all the time, right? So that means all those credit card sales, they would never get recorded until the actual cash is received, which could be 30 days later. Okay? So, no, businesses don't want that. They want to record the sale at the time it happens. Okay? Then we're collecting the cash down here. So right here in this transaction, when Bowman sells it to us on account, okay, we recognize the revenue. They owe us that money. Here, we're collecting that money, and so therefore they owe us less, right? Because if they gave us some of the money they owe us, then they don't owe us as much, okay? So that's why you show that reduction right there, okay? Number 5, paid cash to owner for personal use. Paid cash to owner for personal use. What are my two accounts? Cash, unequivocally, and yes, it's going to be the owner's equity in the form of a withdrawal. So this one is going to be a minus. We know unequivocally it's a minus because we're paying out cash. So that's reducing our cash. And it's a withdrawal to the owner. An owner can take, I don't know why it keeps timing out on me. So they can take money out of the business at any point in time. They can take money out of the business in the form of a desk or a computer for their own personal use. Not usually, typically do they do that, but they can. Okay, most of the time they take it out in the form of cash. That is not a normal expense of the business. It is considered to be a separate item outside the normal operations of the business. The owner can also pay him or herself a salary. That would be included in your expenses. Salary expense is a typical expense of the business. But if the owner takes out excess, that's what a withdrawal is. Okay? All right. So that's the work together, and that finishes the notes and the work together problems for this chapter.